Well, hello boys and girls, welcome to the next episode of the Rustyscale show. This video is all about the weathering of the Bf110 model kit in 172 scale. It's this beautiful Adlertag Limited Edition of Eduard, which is highly recommendable. This is officially part 3 of the Dackelbauch build. Now, if you haven't checked out part 1 and part 2, I will link the videos up here so you can check them out, alright? Part 1 is about priming, marbling and pre-shading. Part 2 is all about the painting and some chipping on the lower surface. And now you ended up here on part 3, which is all about the weathering. Now, I did a lot of weathering on this baby, and I almost managed it to capture all the 18 or more steps on camera so we can check it out. Now, while you're here waiting for the clip to start, you might as well like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comment section how you like my work. Does it suck? Do you like it? What do you think? So now we are ready for takeoff. Fasten your seatbelts. Let's go! That's it, right? So it all starts with the wheels, a little bit of Pacific dust, panel line wash on the wheels. I didn't do too much weathering, I didn't do too much weathering on the wheels, just this panel wash. Since the model has its coat of flat varnish already applied, I might as well just glue the wheels in place, the tires. Now, let's start with some chipping of the upper surface. And I checked some reference photos where I realized that the pilot would enter the aircraft from the front side. That's why I started with the chippings on this side. And now let's check it out. Not too much. I tried to stay as subtle as possible on this one, but still wanted to have some visible chippings. Now what I'm doing here is blending it a bit. Just some acrylic thinner, dampen your brush with it, and then blend it a bit into the surface. It will get a bit less visible then. The next step is the panel line wash. I'm using enamel panel line washes, the PLWs from AMOMIG. I really love enamel panel line washes. You have more time to adjust them because they dry a bit slower than the acrylic ones. And yeah, I mean, the capillary action is so strong. It flows really nicely. If you lay down a nice gloss coat underneath, you will not be disappointed, okay? So try them out if you haven't yet. This is the blue black I'm using here, and you can see how it flows. It's beautiful. It takes a bit of time, but you get quite fast, you advance quite fast with it. Now I'm just using a normal Q-tip to get rid of the residue from the panel line wash. Now you have to let it dry just a few minutes, not too long. Don't let it dry too much. You will have problems to get rid of the excess. The enamel ones, they dry a bit slower than the acrylic washes, so you have time to adjust it. Here I'm starting with streaks. I applied them, and now I'm doing the same and now I'm doing the blending. This time with enamel thinner, because that streaking grime is an enamel color. I'm using my brush, always clean it from the color, from the paint that you just removed, and make sure it's always nice damped, not wet. It shouldn't be soaking wet full of thinner, just damped. Here I kind of pre-shaded the areas around the exhaust. I used the black oil brusher to kind of pre-shade those areas. Now again, I'm using the same Amomig enamel thinner and start fading it, and start fade the oil paint, the paint from the oil brushers. You see, I did a few dots here and there. Now I'm only concentrating on the areas around the exhausts. Here I'm pointing out the areas where I used some different oil brusher colors. Black, green, rust, brown, marine blue. So these were all small areas where I applied a bit of the oil brusher with their with the included brush of the applicator. And now I'm fading the paint using enamel thinner. This will create a certain look. If you have certain details in a color that maybe stands out, maybe a little bit too much, but you know, the capture of the camera is always a bit reduced. So usually this will look just right, you know. Second step, I did a pre-shading around the exhaust areas where the smoke from all the exhaust will touch the surface. I did a pre-shading with the oil brushes. Now I'm using the pigments. I'm using some pigments as a second layer, and this is the most important step. Now go over it again. You have to rub the pigments into the surface a bit, but it has to be a flat surface. If it's a glossy surface, you won't be able to rub it into it. I'm using a flat brush to clean the areas where I'm really thinking like there shouldn't be none. So it's not only where you apply pigments, it's only about where you don't apply it. Here I'm cleaning it again. This is the air intake. I pre-shaded this also with the filters, if you remember. Now I always like the painting. I start I like to start at the lower surface, and then when I'm into it, I'll switch and I'll start doing the upper surface, which will be more visible. So I know a bit better like how to apply it, how to work out the technique properly. So here I'm always applying a bit, then cleaning. Checking it out. You see also where I put the streaking grime and faded those areas. It's quite heavy, the smoke I did, but I wanted it this way. I wanted to see what can I achieve with pre-shading by Oilbrushers and then use pigments over it. One of the last steps, doing the petrol spills and fuel spills and stuff like that. And here I'm trying something out. I wanted to have, let's assume it has just been tanked, fully tanked, and then has to take off. So the residue of the petrol will get blown alongside the tank in the flight direction, where the air will flow. That's what I'm trying to do here by using the airbrush. Applying a bit, like a little drop of the petrol mixed with the fuel stains, and then use the airbrush to imitate the airflow. Now, what I wanted to say is that these oil and petrol effects you always have to use after you use pigments, because they will stay kind of sticky. They will be and they will be glossy because it's like, yeah, it's fuel. It's so if you use pigments, the pigment will stick on it and it will change the look completely. You won't be having this fuel petrol stain effect. It will look completely different. You don't want that. So always do the pigments before you use those sticky paints. And now I'm doing really the last step of the weathering, using the weathering pencils, and it's mainly in the areas around the cockpit, because from the masking the paint job around the cockpit was not too perfect, but that gives me a perfect occasion to do a nice effect with the weathering pencils. So here I used light green, applied it on the model, dipped it in water, dipped the tip in some water, applied it to the model, and then I'm fading it with a brush and some water. I'm showing you here water, then dip the tip of the pencil in the water and you can apply it like this. Here I had to, I broke off the cannon, so I had to fix it and use another piece of another cannon. And now I'm painting this. It was a tryout to see if I could paint this with gunmetal, and it worked pretty well. And this is the last area. I'm using a light brown, like a sand color, to make a fade there, because also there the paint job was not perfect from the masking around the canopy. And here again, I mean, these weathering pencils are so great. They're so fast, and you can achieve great effects, or just cover up something that is not perfect. And you can fade it with a brush damped in water. It's so easy to do. And there are 2 techniques to work with them, or even more. Of course there are even more, but I will go deeper into the weathering pencils in a future video. So that's it. These were all the weathering steps I went through, and now of course we want to check out the finished model. I will show you some photos. It's unlike I usually do, like a long montage, a slideshow with many different pictures. This will be a bit shorter because we already have all the weathering in this video. I don't want to make the video like a half an hour. So here are just a few great shots of the Bf110 of the finished model. Let's go!